Stadiums are a lot more louder than this. Come on. All right, so we know that cricket was an arranged marriage for you. Your father had decided already that this is the sport that he will play. When is it that you fell in love with cricket? Let's ask you that.
Still figuring that out. Because I think that's a very interesting word, arranged marriage. I was very young that time. I was more into roller skating and, playing a bit of tennis and playing football, and eventually my father said, you're just going to play cricket from now on, because I think he wanted me to live his dream.
Yeah.
He didn't play for India for a long time. He wanted me to become a fast bowler, but fortunately for me and unfortunately for him, I became a batsman, all-rounder, spinner. And I think at the age of, say, 15, 16, started competing and, winning the Under-19 World Cup. I knew that I had it in me to go all the way. But I didn't know how to sustain it because I was very young. So I think at the age of, I was almost going to be 19, I played first time for India against one of the best attacks in the world. And I think just again the process had started from the age of 11. That my father was hitting me with wet tennis balls, leather balls, plastic balls. At times I was not wearing a helmet as well, because my father's idol was Vivian Richards. So he said, if he's not going to wear a helmet, you're not going to wear a helmet as well. So I had to convince him after a couple of years that, the best player of our era is Tendulkar. He wears a helmet, see.
If you could tell us about some things that you did, you believe that no one else or very few people would have done at that point in time.
I was a number 3 batsman, opening number 3 batsman. And when I played for India for the first time, I batted number 5.
Yep.
And then I got a regular spot at number 6. So I could not bat top of the order. Like Vrinder Sehwag was batting at 6,
Yep.
and he started to open.
Yep.
So I think the team requirement wanted him to open and me to bat at number 6, and that's how the formation happened, where the balance of the team came in. So sometimes I feel that you have to sacrifice your own personal goal for the team to look at the bigger picture, to achieve the bigger picture. So I think that's, I sacrifice that because everybody wants to bat higher up the order because, you want to get hundreds, you want to break records, and obviously the more balls you play, the more opportunities you have. But I think the team required me to bat at number 6 and had to sacrifice a personal goal for the team.
Where did you learn these virtues of humility, spirituality, patience, discipline, sticking to the process? I mean, 11, 12-year-olds turning 16 to 19, it would be difficult, right, to learn all those things?
Yeah, I mean, my father was on my case 24/7. He didn't leave me for a single moment. I mean, from 6 a.m. in the morning till 8 o'clock in the evening, I was on the park literally. And then he kind of removed the garden in the house and made a cement wicket where I used to practice in the night. And that was the discipline he created at a very young age. And then obviously when I came in the Indian team, I could see how my seniors would behave off the field, like how good ambassadors they were of the country, how to treat other people, how to talk to the media, how to speak to your fans. I think that showed a lot of humility. So it was a hard balance, as a young kid I always thought, when you play for India, you can do whatever you want. And then I realized when you're playing for India, you can't do 90% of things because you're being watched every day. And you have to set an example out there for the youth. And
when was it that moment, when did it hit you when you said that, okay, you're playing for India, you're being watched every day, you can't do everything that you want? Was there any particular instance or was it over a period of time?
I think when you get dropped from the team, and I got dropped from the team, and you get so much of criticism, and you're not able to handle it because you're a young kid. And then slowly you learn to handle it, and you come back in the team, you succeed again. And then slowly you realize that this is all just a part of your journey. When you're representing India, you have a lot of responsibility, and you have to be in a certain way. and you have to balance your life along with it. So I think learned the hard way, and that's what made me who I am today, because I learned the hard way.
You said that you learned a lot from the team environment at the time you joined, your seniors, etc. Tell me a couple of things that people have taught you. Okay, I'll take some names. Mr. Anil Kumble, you call him the headmaster.
He was a hard taskmaster on the field. Like, I remember when me and Mohammad Kaif were fielding, we knew if the ball goes from us, he's going to have a go at us. So our job, guys who are 20, 21 on the park, is to break your body, but the ball should not pass you. So, you could see the guy would give 100%. I mean, remember Anil Kumble was bowling with a broken jaw in West Indies. So it's so inspiring to see a senior do that. If he can do that, then you need to learn to do that, right? So that was Anil Kumble for you, but a lovely guy off the field. We still joke around with him, and he laughs at us.
Virender Sehwag, you spoke about him opening the innings, wham bam. Was he off the field the same as he was on the field, no holds barred?
Viru was a completely different guy. He would whistle off the field, he will whistle on the field while he's batting. He's someone who really it seemed like he didn't take much pressure on himself. Because if he's the kind of guy, if he had a look at the first ball, he would go after it. And he was very clear in his thinking that if I see the ball, I hit the ball. And a very relaxed guy off the field as well.
What was Ganguly's process like? Because everyone calls him the aggressive captain who backed all the youngsters and all of that and stuff. I'm sure there was method to the madness.
See, I think Saurav, obviously a very young captain, and had a lot of huge responsibility because after some controversies, a couple of younger guys came in the team and he really backed us. Like, we were not consistent, we were in and out of the team, but he knew that we had the talent. So actually he really supported us.
I will save this one for the last, and that is Mr. Sachin Ramesh Tendulkar. Because you said you lifted the bat because of him, you started admiring cricket because of him. So what were the few things that you learned from him?
Me and my dad will always bet every game how much Sachin will score, and seen him play since a very young age. And my father would say, if he can play at 16, you can play at 14. Like, my dad's got really high hopes from me. So learning, I think, very humble human, always there as a senior. It took a long time to get close to him, because by the time I came to the side, he was already a legend at a very young age. And I remember I sat in the dressing room for the first time, and I opened my kit bag and I had a picture of Sachin, and he was sitting next to me.
Wow.
And he looked at my coffin and he goes, "Nice picture. Who's that guy?" And he started laughing. So I think broke the ice. That's how I was able to speak to him. And obviously, over the years, I have a relationship with him where I can go and speak to him about my life, about my struggles. Obviously, my struggles of batting, I would always go and sort out with him. So I think he was kind of my mentor in the team whenever he was there and whenever I was there in the team. So learned a lot from him.
Just a few personal things that he would have told you that helped you a lot in your life outside of cricket, if you could share some of those with us.
You just gauge like how he talks to people, like his attitude in training. If he scored a 0 or 100, would be the same. I remember he was on 70 hundreds and he would work for Gary Kirsten for long hours. In 2003 World Cup, he was, you could see that the guy is, practicing things differently, and you learn a lot from it. And then obviously how, he spoke to the media and how to be grounded when you are, that successful. And obviously, I had a couple of issues with batting with my spin. I was not a good player of spin when I came to the side. He told me that, you need to learn how to sweep, especially when you're playing in slow Asian tracks. And every time I was in trouble, a bit of motivation. I think before the World Cup, I had a great chat with him where actually really helped me in terms of, getting the best of my mental side, because physically I was struggling. So, sometimes you don't see things in you, but people see around what's happening. So it's good to know that somebody's got your back.
Well, he's just described the qualities of a great mentor, and that perhaps leads to the team's victory as well. 2007 and the next 2020 World Cup is what I'd like your thoughts about. Not the 2007 T20 World Cup, but the 2007 ODI World Cup, where the team wasn't doing well. What do you think happened out there? Because on paper, that perhaps was the strongest team ever.
I mean, we didn't have a good atmosphere in the dressing room. When the team is not gelling together, results are not going to come by.
What does that mean, a good atmosphere? Because one would imagine that, there are kids who are just going out to play a game, and ideally there should be a happy atmosphere. That's what the average Joe thinks. But what is not a good atmosphere?
When kids going out there to play, they have a fearless mind. When adults go out to play, they have a fearful mind. So the atmosphere in the team means like the guys are not gelling, the decisions that are happening, people not agreeing with that. There are groups in the team, and there's not a good vibe, So all those things were happening. As I said, talk about Tendulkar, he was our best player. He was batting at number 4, which was, I don't think was the right decision at that time, but again, it's debatable. And then obviously, a lot of guys were dropped, and then they came back in the side just before the World Cup. So it was just not a good time in Indian cricket. And you learn from it and you move forward.
MS Dhoni usually does not speak much. You said in the game against Australia, while he was getting out, he walked past you and said, "Shabash, Yuvi, khatam karke aana."
Yeah, I think it was a very high pressure game. And normally, if you look at our stats, me and Mahi have had a lot of big partnerships.
Incredible ones. Yeah, we don't need to look at stats. We'll just jog our memory down, and our childhood has been colored with some great partnerships.
But also big games.
Big games as well.
Big games, and I remember, and the thing is that we lost to Australia 2003 World Cup final, and that's obviously playing in your mind, and then you're chasing 265, they got you 180 for 5, and Dhoni got out. And I remember him, normally if he gets out or I get out, we just go back to the dressing room, and he just walked past and he said, "Shabash, Yuvi." And I was like, there's no pressure here, and you just said that. In my head, I was thinking,